dark of the night when the stars align, there's a place you can go where the stories unwind. Slavs in the chair bringing news from the skies. All things DC, it's where the truth lies.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Thursday's Watchtower, where we talk DC. And that's pretty much all we talk about. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? We got quite a bit of information to cover tonight. And with me, well, you know what? I'm just going to bring them on just so you can all see who I got here. It is Stevie from SuperHero Cuts. Great channel, guys. Great podcast. If you haven't checked them out, you need to check them out. They're awesome. I've been on their show. Now it's time for them to get over here on my show. It's about damn time. I've had Jerry on before. It's about time. I think you came on real quick when Jerry was on, didn't you?
Yeah. Because I was at like I think it was at like a bonfire or something. So I jumped on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's cool. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about, guys. Who do we got here? We got Derpy Entertainment on here. As always, what's going on? He says, "My glorious king." What is going on? We got Trayvon Purnell. God, I'm here. Otito says DC for life. I'm sorry, guys. On my screen, it shows like I'm delayed in talking, so it's like kind of throwing me off. So I'm sorry if I hope it's not delayed for you. It's kind of looking weird for me, so I apologize. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff to cover, so I kind of wanted to get into it. Real quick, I am going to show this again. I encourage you all to go check out SuperHero Cuts over on YouTube. Go check them out. Subscribe to them. Help their channel grow. They're a really fun channel. You guys do shows on Mondays as well, I believe, right?
Yep.
But I think you guys go later than I do. What time do you guys do your shows on Mondays?
Yeah, so we go around like 9 o'clock ish.
Yeah, so you go after me. So my show's over by the time you guys start. So you guys can watch my show, and then if you guys want more nerdy, jump over and watch them. It would be a great evening for you guys. So you guys can go do that. Anyways, first thing I'm going to talk about is the lanterns. We got our first look at lanterns today. James Gunn posted this on social media, said, "Excited that Lanterns is now in production. DC Studios' new show for HBO and Max from creators Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King, starring Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, is something really special." And this is the first look that we get. We get Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart and Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. Kyle Chandler looks rugged and just run down in this photo here, and Aaron Pierre looks young and boisterous and ready to go. But what do you think of this? I want to know what your thoughts are, because there has been a lot of divisiveness about this photo today. I don't know why. Like, people just, when it comes to DC, there's just so much negativity from a certain sect of people. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I do agree with you, bro, that fans do overreact a lot. And I think that when it comes to superhero stuff in general, even if it's the small things, I think you should still love them and cherish them. And that's what I just don't understand. Because like for me, seeing the ring was all I needed, you know?
Yeah.
But in regards to the look, this is what I gathered. Hal Jordan looks very rugged because I feel like he hasn't been on Earth much. You know, he's been on other worlds. He's been doing his own thing as being the Green Lantern on other worlds, versus where Jon Stewart, he seems very tidied up. And I think that more so comes from him just getting the ring, him still being used to, being on Earth and stuff. So I feel like it's more of like symbolism of how kind of being off world. And, he's in, a lot of places where having good hair just doesn't matter anymore, And I think that we're going to see a different version of Hal Jordan. Like obviously some of the same clips are going to be there, but he's going to be a very mature and experienced hero.
Yeah. I agree. And I'm actually really excited about that. I'm excited to see just how experienced he is, just how in tuned he is with being a Green Lantern. Because if you think about it, you go back to that 2011 movie with Ryan Reynolds. we didn't get a lot of like real in-depth Green Lantern moments in that movie. Sure, you had, the Sinestro who is Green Lantern. He kind of showed off a little bit of Kilowog, but you didn't get a lot of real in-depth Green Lantern. I think with this show, we're going to see how Jordan really portraying what it's like to be a Green Lantern, and I'm looking forward to that. And I think this is showing, like, look, he's been around the block. He's been there for quite a while, and especially having a young John Stewart being the one who's going to be learning from Hal Jordan here, I think is going to you're going to have to do that. You have to show John Stewart how to be a Green Lantern, and that's kind of going to be the dynamic here, and I'm looking forward to that. So for sure, I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This picture here, people were kind of freaking out about the ring because I forgot to pull up the picture of Guy Gardner's ring from the Superman movie, but people were freaking out because it doesn't match his ring. I don't know if you saw people freak. Again, it's people want to nitpick every little thing. I think the ring looks cool. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, facts.
But I mean, it's a Green Lantern ring. Like, what do you expect? You can only do so much with a ring, first of all. I mean, you can't do a whole lot with a ring. But it doesn't look like Guy Gardner's ring, nor should it be the same ring. I think in the comics, we've seen a plethora of different types of Green Lantern rings. It's been different rings in different forms. Sure, some have looked like the actual lantern, some haven't. This one doesn't look exactly like a lantern, where I think Guy Gardner's does look more like a lantern, the lantern logo. But that's okay. I mean, how long has he been doing this? And could he have changed his ring at some point, or was it changed? Is it damaged? How old is this ring? There's a lot of questions that we don't know. Like I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be answered when we see this show. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of cool things with it.
100%, bro. I mean, I think that people are tripping because I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with you being in the same core and your rings looking a different way. And I guess my headcanon will maybe be is like they both joined at two different points. I mean, Hal Jordan's been a Green Lantern for a while, and I'm not sure how long Guy Gardner has been. And also, I saw some people on the internet also trying to say that his suit is going to look like Guy's suit, which I do not agree with because I don't think that suit that Guy's wearing is even a Green Lantern costume.
No,
I'm pretty sure that's with what Maxwell Lord or
it's a Lord. I think it's a Lord Tech suit.
Yeah, but I did hear another rumor about this that I wanted to say to you. Some people are saying that they are actually on Earth to investigate the murder of Alan Scott. Have you heard about that?
I have not heard that rumor, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
that is very
somebody
interesting.
was talking about it. I think it was everything DCU that talked about it. I'm not sure, but they were saying that like it was either I forget if it was a theory or a rumor, but that was what people were kind of thinking about, which I kind of thought was very interesting.
That is interesting. Speaking of everything DCU, they actually posted this from Damon Lindelof, and he goes, "I have a more deep-cut appreciation of Green Lantern comics, particularly the offbeat sci-fi short stories of the Green Lantern Corps penned by Alan Moore in the 80s. What I've always loved about Green Lantern is that he's a superhero whose imagination is his greatest strength, in terms of using his ring to conjure amazing things. That's cool to me, especially as an artist. The other thing I loved about the Green Lantern Corps, besides its diverse range of male, female, and alien characters, is the fun camaraderie and competitive tension between its members. It's a community of lone wolf cops with the idealistic ethos that demands a lot of them. That makes for a rich source of drama." He gets it. I mean, that's the thing. And you figure you have someone like Damon Lindelof, who's part of this creation of this show. He understands this, and that to me is exciting. And you have, again, I hate to keep going back to this, but when you have so many people who are just upset and mad and they just want to sit there and rag on this because they get one image of the characters not in their superhero suits, they don't sit back and say, well, the people that are involved in making this understand the lore, understand the characters. They're taking care with this. Just because you see an image of the characters in street clothes doesn't mean that it's not going to be good. I'm also okay with them not showing them in their superhero suits yet, because this is the first image we're getting. Like, let them actually shoot the show. Let them, How about we wait and see them in their superhero suits until we get a teaser trailer, a trailer of some sort for it? Like, why blow your load today? Like, give
Yeah.
us something to chew on, give us little morsels. And the show's not supposed to come out for almost a year and a half. Like, come on,
100%.
it's wild to me how people just overreact and feel like they don't know what they're doing, or they're being gypped out of something because they're not getting exactly what they want right now.
Yeah.
It's wild.
We are lucky that we even got a picture this fast into anything. You know what I mean? Because usually it would have been months before we would see anything. By the way, Lindelof is a genius, and I think he's a great writer. Lucasfilm did him dirty. He actually was hired by them to write a Ray film, and when he wrote that, and when he wrote it, I'm pretty sure. Well, the rumor is that he did a lot of things to Ray that they didn't like, so they just canned his script. So I'm happy that James Gunn picked him up, because he is a really, I mean, that dude is very talented. So I am happy that he's working on that, bro. Like, that's amazing. And then I did want to say something else. I forget what I was about to say. Because you said what? I'm sorry, you just said something that just opened like a door to my mind.
Oh, I'm not sure. I said a lot.
Sorry, you said I know you said something that literally opened a door in my mind. But okay, yeah. This is it. I do think, like, a lot of people have to understand, right? When James Gunn was with Marvel, right, they did everything for him. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to rollouts, when it comes to social media, they have a team that does everything. A lot of fans have to understand that, like, James Gunn, this is his first time where he's in control of every single detail on a scale this large. And I do see improvements from his Superman rollout, because there were some things in the rollout that I wasn't a big fan of. And I see the improvement, because I do feel like there were like some shots and some things that weren't the best, but I felt like James Gunn was so excited to just get it out. So I'm happy that with this he gives us enough, but also he makes fans want more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I feel like there are improvements with what he's doing. And also the second thing is that, one thing that he does that a lot of people give him crap for is that he's always talking. He's always like posting stuff and talking. But I see that as more he's trying to communicate with the fans and tell them, and he's kind of like involving us in his process. I don't see anything wrong with that either. So people are just tripping, bro, when it comes to crying about, this Green Lantern's, photo and all that stuff, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I think people, again, I mentioned a little bit ago, it is a certain section of people, a certain sect of people who they wanted a certain thing. They wanted their beloved director, they wanted their beloved universe to be continued, and it's not happening. And I get it. It sucks. You want something to continue, you want something to be done a certain way, and it's not happening. And they're upset about that. But you have to have an open mind to what is coming. And they can sit there and complain. They're throwing up the Wayne T. Carr photo of Zack Snyder, from the shooting him in the driveway of his house and editing it on his MacBook Pro, whatever it was. It's like, oh, we look what we had, and it's like, no, we never had that.
Yep.
He wasn't even allowed to do that. It's like, sure, it's cool, and it would have been cool to see in the movie, sure, but we never had it. And people sit there and they're like, look what we had and look what we have now, guys in street clothes. Why are you comparing two things that aren't even the same? It's not even the same. And that's, again, people just need to sit back and relax. There's this divide within the DC fandom anymore, and it's baffling to me why it continues to happen. Well, it doesn't baffle me. I know why it's happening, because you have the people who sit there and just spread lies and misinformation constantly, saying James Gunn ruined this, James Gunn ruined this, and they're eating it up. And I don't want to get into this whole thing again, but it all stemmed back from the clout chasers and the scoopers back in 2020, 2021, 2022, when they just fed all these lies to the people that wanted more of Zack Snyder stuff. And they're like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And everybody bought into it. I was one of them. I bought into it and was like, yeah, we're getting it. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder they all were like, it's not coming. It's not. It's, it's a cul-de-sac. It's not coming. And all the fans got pissed off at Warner Brothers and not Zack Snyder, but at Warner Brothers, and they were getting pissed off at them because they were saying, no, it's not coming. But all the scoopers and all the cloud chasers were like, it's coming, it's coming. Well, why were they believing them and not the people who are in charge? And it just kind of built from there, and it's ridiculous. And these fans just don't understand. Like, stop listening to these people who are lying to you constantly.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
just wild to me.
And it's like, bro, we're getting Batman, bro. We're getting the Bat Family in freaking live action, bro. We're about to see 3 Green Lanterns in the span of darn near like 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like, I'm sorry, that's hype. That's hype.
Yeah,
That's hype,
it's crazy. It's
That's
absolutely crazy. All right. Let me know your thoughts, everyone, in the comments. What do you think about this lantern photo? I'd love to hear what you have to say about all this. I think it's cool. I'm excited. Finally, confirmation that it's in production. That's exciting. So let us know in the comments. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, all that jazz. Let's see what some of the people are saying over in the live chat, because sometimes they like to make their voices heard.
Let's go.
Let's see. I don't know if they're going to say anything. Trayvon says someone theorized that Hal Jordan's ring is finding from the public that when he's a regular citizen versus being in his suit. I'm sorry, Trayvon. I'm not sure.
I think he's saying that when he is not in his Green Lantern suit, the ring looks more like a human ring, and versus where when he's actually like in his Green Lantern suit, it looks more like an alien.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
That's what
I mean, that could be. I mean, that could be
I'll be a dope detail for sure.
Thing. Yeah, and I mean, if he's as experienced as he is, he could probably do that himself and make it look like that himself. So that's probably not a problem. Derpy says superhero cuts might have to do the Green Lantern oath to cure themselves of Marvel thelioma.
Derpy, come on, man. Yeah.
Trayvon says, we are the best kept secret in the universe. Our mission is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth. We are your best, last, and only line of defense. Men in Black vibes for me, which is a thumbs up. I'm guessing that's what you're saying about the photo.
It's a great comparison. That's fire.
Let's see. Otito says 9 flops of movies in a row will demoralize even the most loyal DC fans. I can understand that. Yeah.
I don't, for real, bro. I really don't. I don't because I feel like and this is what I was talking to a Snyder guy about the other day. I told him, I was like, look, like whether if you like it or not, like are you like my love for Snyder or James Gunn can't be greater than my love for DC. And that's just how I feel. It's like even if Snyder took the reins and James didn't, even though I didn't like what Snyder does, I would still support it, and the stuff I liked, I would champion. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I feel like it's a little kind of wild the way that some people are acting.
Oh, that's similar to my sentiment that I always say, because people always sit there and try and say, oh, you're just a gun fan, you're a gun fanatic, or whatever they call the gun fans. And I'm like, no, I don't care who's running DC. I couldn't care less. I care about getting good DC content. I'm excited about seeing a DC film universe that's actually cohesive for once. I think right now the DC universe looks to be the brightest. It has the brightest future that it's ever had. And I say that even knowing what we could have gotten back in 2015, 2016, whenever they had that initial slate announcement, because back then, even when they announced that, I was like, that looks cool. That looks fun. And I was excited about it. But looking at what we have now and understand and knowing that there's James Gunn running it, there's a singular vision. There's, they have a plan. They have a point A to point B. Back then, it was a complete mess. Even then, we knew it was a complete mess. You had Zack Snyder trying to do his thing, Jeff Johns trying to do his thing, all this stuff going on. Right now, it is better handled, better managed than it was back then. So I think right now, whether you agree that you like what's coming or not, I think there's a better chance of this being successful than it did back then, simply because of that. And I think that's what excites me. And I couldn't care if it was James Gunn, Zack Snyder, who was the guy that almost got it before that's now at Netflix. whatever his name is.
I don't even know.
I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, I mean, it's I don't care who it is, just
Facts.
just make it good. Just
Exactly.
put something together that excites people. That's all.
Exactly, bro.
Jay Burns says Aaron Pierre looks like he's ripped right out of the Justice League cartoon. He
looks
does.
great.
Yeah.
He looks great. He's ripped. I mean, he looks like he's a military dude in that photo. He really does.
As he should. He's a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. I wanted to put this up because this is James Gunn on if Superman can be considered an ensemble movie. Now, this may be brought up. We may pass this up in the next thing that we cover, but I wanted to bring this up because this is really important, because this is one of the things that a lot of naysayers, a lot of the people that are against this Superman movie kind of discuss a lot of times, is how this movie looks stuffed. This movie looks like, people complain about Batman versus Superman because there was too many characters, but look at this movie. You have Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, you have Mr. Terrific, you have Lois, you have this, you have that, and then you have Superman. So this is James Gunn speaking directly on if this is considered an ensemble movie. He goes, I don't think of Superman as an ensemble film. It's about three characters, Superman, Lois, and Lex. Those are the three characters. Everybody else serves that story. Every single frame of the movie is about Superman's story. Like it's about his personal journey. It isn't Guardians of the Galaxy. Every character has their arc, like I would have in any story, but it really is about Superman. As I've been saying for so long, this movie is going to be Superman's story. It makes sense that it's three characters, Superman, Lois, and Lex, because Lois is so connected to Superman. Makes sense. That you have to have that strong connection to Superman, to Clark, Lois and Superman. Makes sense. And then you have Lex in there because, well, he's the big bad. He is the linchpin that's going to really push everything forward for Superman in this movie. So it makes sense that he's also a big part of the film. But again, as I've said before, yes, he's going to have these other characters in it, but he's talked about how this world is already established that it has metahumans. There are metahumans. There are superheroes amongst everybody living in this world already. So when there's a big threat going on, yes, these other superheroes, these other heroes, these other metahumans are going to show up and they're going to be there. It would be kind of ridiculous if they didn't. That's one of the complaints that we've always heard about Marvel films is, oh, why is New York being attacked by the Mandarin and only Iron Man shows up? Why is this happening over here and only Captain America cares? Why is this happening over here and nobody else comes and helps? Well, James Gunn's kind of addressing that in the very first movie. All these other characters are going to show up. It's just like, 100%. Hey, here it is. But people, again, just want to complain, to bitch and complain because it's James Gunn. And I think it's ridiculous. But he goes out of his way to explain things, and it makes sense. It works. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree with everything you say, bro. And, like, one of the greatest things that the MCU did was not making a Falcon project, but introducing him in Captain America 2. You know what I mean? One of the best ways to bring in side characters is you bring them in the movie of main characters. And one of the reasons why the MCU has failed so much is because they're doing separate projects on characters that no one gives a crap about. And like, let's just be real. No one's watching a live action Mr. Terrific show. Okay. That would be very hard to sell. A Hawkgirl show. Now, I do think you could cook with Hawkgirl because I think she has some really deep lore. The whole Shire stuff is dope. But still, though, I mean, it's still up in the air. You know what I mean? And I think that it is perfect when you introduce a bunch of characters with the main character, because this is the DC universe. And just as you've said, right? I mean, like, I don't think this story is just going to be in Metropolis either. Superman's going to be all over the world, man. And so, of course, he's going to interact with so many other characters, not to mention this whole side plot of maybe like there's a bunch of heroes working for the government or whoever. I mean, like, there's a lot going on, but I don't think that takes away from what's going to happen in the movie. I mean, like, I actually think it's dope. And if you guys read comic books, right? Like I'm reading Fantastic Four, right? And I'm reading men's run, and in there, bro, Spider-Man pops up from time to time. You know what I mean? He's just there because they're in New York, and if you're in New York, you're always going to see Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Even if I'm reading some Batman, some people's going to pop up in Gotham. So, James Gunn is honoring the comic books too. So, like, I don't really think that's a bad thing. Like, imagine Superman flying all over the world and not encountering one hero, but then you want to do a Batman movie and all these things with all these different characters. It would be super weird. So this is it's wild, bro. The people are crying about this because these are the things that we cried about during Zack Snyder's DCEU. And what is funny, bro, is that all of the things that people cried about, we are now getting, and now people are mad. It's funny, bro. It's funny.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know, but let me know, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this because, again, it's one of those things that I told you so. I said months ago, this is exactly what it is, and James Gunn just comes out and says it flat out and says, "Told you guys," or not told you, but this is what's going on, and I'm gonna say, "I told you so."
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
Hey, Slav. So which which side character are you most excited to see out of the Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific? Like, which one are you kind of looking for?
Mr. Terrific.
Really? Why?
Yeah. So I really like Edie Gathegi as an actor. I think he's a fantastic actor for first of all. Hawk Girl, I've never been that impressed with Hawk Girl as a character. I mean, she's cool and all, but like, I'm not like overly like, oh, I got to see Hawk Girl. And honestly, we still don't know. Is she going to be Thanagarian? Is she going to be an Egyptian? Like, which backstory are they going to go with her? Are they even going to dive into that in this movie? We have no idea.
Yeah.
Green Lantern, I'm not a big Guy Gardner fan. I'm more of a Jon Stewart guy. I love Jon Stewart. So I'm really looking forward to Lanterns for that. Now, Mr. Terrific, I know that he was on the Arrowverse, and I thought he was not portrayed very well there.
Oh yeah, he was a clown.
Exactly. He was such a clown. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. He's supposed to be like one of the smartest men in the world, and he was a clown.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Come on. Like, yeah, they made him smart, but he was. It's hard to explain. Like, he just wasn't what I envisioned. Like, whenever I've seen him in comics, like, he always seemed like dialed in. And he was just never dialed in, if that makes sense. No, nothing against the actor who portrayed him. I think it's just the way he was written.
Yep.
So I really am looking forward to see how they can pull it off with Edie Gathegi and how James Gunn does it. So I'm really hoping that he does well there. But I think there's going to be. I have a suspicion that there may be one or two surprises. I also really want to see Metamorpho. I want to see how they do Metamorpho as well, but I don't know how much of a role he's going to have, how big of a role he'll have.
Yeah. That's what's up, bro. Yeah. I agree. All of them seem dope.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I want to see them all, but all right. So I don't know if you guys caught this. Nerds of Color, which I've never actually heard of this site before, the other day. Nerds of Color. I guess they were invited to the press event that happened last week. And while all of the big news really dropped, it was all like the highlights, the little the quick clips, the snippets, the big information that anybody wanted to hear came out on Monday. Well, on Tuesday and Wednesday, more so Tuesday, the Nerds of Color put out a much more in-depth, like really look how long this article is.
Oh my gosh.
But they put out like a much longer article because they went in depth and they like really focused on what James Gunn and Peter Safran talked about and really just took all their quotes and put them on here. And this is more information than what you found on Deadline, found on Variety, found on the Hollywood Reporter, whatever sites, were there, like the big sites that were putting stuff out, Collider even. I found more information here than I found on any of those sites, which is wild.
That's
because
fire.
You would think those are the sites that would have all the information.
100%.
So we're going to go through this. as much as we can. But this is where I want to talk about a lot of the cool things that have come up. The first one I want to talk about here is specifically because this was kind of a topic of discussion this week as well online because of the announcement that the Wonder Woman game is canceled. And everybody started talking and caring about Wonder Woman all of a sudden because that's a thing. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of, the Wonder Woman character, and I loved the Wonder Woman movie in 2017. Wonder Woman 84 was ass, but
really bad, bro. Really bad.
But I mean, the game I couldn't really care less about because we didn't see anything. We saw one little teaser like 4 years ago, and nothing. Like, being a video gamer for as long as I was, I understood, like, if you saw a teaser for a game and then nothing for like 3 or 4 years, there's a good chance it wasn't coming out unless it was like a Rockstar game or a Bethesda game. Like, those are the only two companies that you knew, like, hey, you might get a little tease and then 5 years later the game actually comes out. Other than that, you probably weren't getting the game. So I understood that. So after that tease that we got like 4 years ago and we weren't really getting anything else, I pretty much understood we weren't going to be getting the game. But they're sitting there, like, people started freaking out, like, Warner Brothers doesn't care about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's, that's it. Nobody cares about Wonder Woman. You see how James Gunn treats Wonder Woman? Look at how Zack Snyder treated Wonder Woman. Now look how James Gunn treats Wonder Woman. Like, are you serious? Like, this is what this world is coming to. This is what the world's coming to.
Man. That's
so
nuts.
What was really interesting, and this isn't a lot. This isn't a lot, but one of the things that they talked about was Paradise Lost, which is a Wonder Woman adjacent show that they've been talking about doing for the DCU, and they stated that Paradise Lost is totally still important to them. What does that mean? Does that mean that it's actively in development? Does it mean that they have writers? Does it mean that they even have a story? Nobody really knows. But does that mean that they don't care about Wonder Woman? No, it doesn't mean that. Does it mean that they don't plan on having a Wonder Woman? Look, here's the thing. They're planning on doing an Avenger-style event for after the end of the 6 years. So if they end up doing that, you figure they're probably going to have a Wonder Woman there. They're not going to not have the big three part of their Justice League. Like, come on now. So people need to calm down. They do need to calm down. But along with that, they were talking about the scripts that they were working on. And this is some information that was already out there on Monday. Booster Gold, they said, is moving along pretty strong. Waller has had some setbacks, which is really odd because there's been a lot of rumors stating that show's supposed to start filming this year.
Yeah.
But if they're sitting here saying that it's had some setbacks, I don't know if that's going to start filming this year. The Authority has had some issues, and then everything else has gone pretty well, they've said. The thing with the Authority, there was that rumor probably about 4 or 5 months ago where that it may be moving to animation, which is very interesting. So we'll see what that happens. Another one that was really interesting was James Mangold's Swamp Thing. And he said, our writer-director went off to make another little movie called A Complete Unknown. And, we hope that he'll come back to Swamp Thing when he's ready. Because, again, that was one of those where we loved him as a filmmaker, so we're happy to wait for him. Plus, Swamp Thing is not integral to the larger story we're telling, which is really interesting. So we know the larger story that they're telling is this 6-year arc that they want to tell. So getting to point A, Superman, to this Avenger style event. So I'm just going to start calling Justice League Justice League event. That's what I'm going to call it. So Superman to Justice League event, big event. Swamp Thing is not in that plan.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Okay. So if they come, then Swamp Thing will get made and it'll fit in there somewhere. That's fine. But I don't think James Mangold's going to come anytime soon because I think he's going to focus on Star Wars next. I think that's his next big project. So that probably, if it does come to get made, it'll probably happen in probably 3 or 4 years.
100%.
Still a ways away. Let's see.
Hey, Slav, could we go back 1 second?
Yeah.
So when I was thinking of Paradise Lost, I thought that maybe Donna Troy was going to be introducing that more so because they're trying to build the whole Teen Titans thing, and I thought it would be like a perfect time to bring in a sidekick since we're trying to build that teen team. Um,
Well, Paradise Lost was originally supposed to be a period piece where it took place years before, like years ago, hundreds of like
mm,
supposedly like hundreds of years ago. Whether I mean, could that be where it was a young Diana
oh,
prince? You
that'll be
know, could
fire.
it? Yeah. So that was the speculation that could we see a young Wonder Woman back then in it? Not so much a Donna Troy, although
Yeah,
I would love to see her pop up at some point, especially with the Titans coming into play. So
ex-
that's something that would be cool, but who knows? And they may have readjusted their plans with it. It could be modern day now. Who knows? Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. Things are always changing. And then Booster Gold, bro. I'm really not a. I don't know, man. And Jerry was getting on me about this too. Booster Gold just don't do it for me, bro. And maybe it's just because in all of the things that I've seen him in, he's just kind of a clown. And like I understand that's like some of his shtick where like he's not like he's kind of like a fake. I don't say he's a fake hero, but he took tech and brought it back in the past, and now he's a hero. So I really have to like I'm open to being wrong, but I just have to see it done well. And
Have you
I
ever
feel like
read any Booster Gold? Like,
mm-mm.
I would suggest reading Booster Gold Blue Beetle team ups
Okay.
if you haven't.
I'm gonna type that down.
He's that's where he shines, in my opinion. Like him and Blue Beetle together, or where he shines. But I think it's all about getting the right actor because the way that he needs to be portrayed is just this cocky yet I won't say cocky, but um more of a comedic slash cocky type of role. Um but see, I don't even want to say cocky because he's like he's
Is it
what's
like
the word I'm looking for?
delusional? Is it like delusion?
Yeah, like delusional, like not so much delusional. He's almost like he's not 100% sure of himself. I can't think of the word I'm looking for here.
Confident?
Like not confident enough in himself,
Okay.
and it's like the tech kind of like helps build the confidence in him,
Okay.
more so it's kind of like that. And but because of that, it gives him that confidence, but he's also kind of goofy in a way.
Mm.
It's hard to explain. I don't know. Again, if you can find some of the I can't think of any good ones. It's been a long time since
Yeah.
I've
I'm
perused any
I'm
of those.
I'm definitely gonna check them out. I'm definitely gonna check them out when I read because I've been trying to find some Booster Gold
Ch-
stuff, but
Chat, if you have any Booster Gold and Blue Beetle team up issues that you can think of,
yeah,
throw them in the
drop them.
chat because I can't think of any right now.
Yeah, for sure. And then for Waller, right? So a part of me likes Waller kind of sort of popping up in a bunch of different projects and pissing people off too. Like I hope that this show isn't the last time. I don't say it isn't the last time that we see her, but I hope that like after the show we still see her pop up in a bunch of different projects, even as for like a scene or two, because Waller is like one of my favorite like government-ish characters in DC, and
I
she's
think
just a savage.
I think James Gunn really likes the character Waller, and I think he also really likes utilizing Viola Davis. And I think he wants to use her. I mean, he wants to do a whole show just about her.
Yeah.
I think it's just finding the right script. And that's one of the things I love about this new regime in DC Studios is they're not just pushing stuff out because they want to push stuff out. They want to get the right projects. They want to make sure that the scripts are right. They want to make sure that what they're putting out is quality. So I do like that. But I'm more concerned about where she fits and everything.
Mhm.
I want to see how Peacemaker season 2 goes because I'm sure she plays a little bit of a role in that. I want to see how that, what's the blowback from the end of the first season of Peacemaker where everything happened. Because we see in Creature Commandos, she's still kind of running things. And it's like, wow, like even after what happened at the end of Peacemaker season 1, she's still kind of running things. So like how are things going is her um her ability to run things, is it kind of like dwindling because of all this stuff that keeps happening? Or is she just still building power? So that's kind of what I want to see, because there has to be a time where she either gets in too far and she's gone, where she either dies, or they fire her or something, or
Yeah,
she just gets ultimate power essentially. So it'll be interesting.
100%. Yeah, there's a lot of places where they can go with her for sure.
Blue and Gold. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Blue
Type
and
that down.
Gold is a good 8 issue. Yes.
Thank you, homies. Thank you, Jay. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Blue and Gold. Number 1 here. Desperate to regain the spotlight, Booster Gold looks to attract the public and Justice League's attention the same way any washed-up second-rate hero would. Social media. The not-so-tech-savvy hero from the 25th century enlists the help of his best friend Blue Beetle, who possesses both the money and the brains to help his old pal navigate the scary world of internet influencers. Watch out, evildoers and heroes. Our heroes are live and online. And this is from Dan Jurgen, who did this. So, yeah.
Bet. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's go.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Clayface. They also confirmed that Clayface is 100% in the DCU. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because they go, gun added, he's always been that's one thing. They were then asked about whether or not the interconnectivity of universes has shifted in response to projects like Clayface getting greenlit. Gunn says Clayface is totally DCU. The only thing that's Elseworld is Matt Reeves' world, Safran continued. His crime saga that he's telling, the Batman trilogy, the Penguin series, that's what's in that lane. So still under DC Studios, still under us. We have an incredible relationship with Matt, but those are the only things. It was important that Clayface be part of the DCU. It's an origin story for, a classic Batman villain. One that is outside of the sort of grounded, non-super meta-human characters in Matt's world, Gunn added. So he was just explaining how it's Matt's world is more grounded, non-super meta-human, where this is super meta-human, fantastical in the DCU.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's explaining.
Sorry.
I want to finish this before you, because I know you want to chime in here. So they then asked, when asked if the release date for push for the Batman Part 2 would affect the release date for Batman the Brave and the Bold, Safran joked, well, we announced that October 2027 there will be a Batman movie. Just a joke, of course. But anyways, is it a joke, or is that when Breaking the Bold? Facts. When asked if Robert Pattinson's Batman would become part of the DCU, Gunn answered, it's certainly not the plan. It's certainly not. And we love him, added Safran, but we've got to introduce a Batman to the DCU. It's imperative. And so that's the plan with Brave and the Bold. So, Stevie, we've been back and forth. You guys may not know this. We actually have a chat, me, him, and his co-host, Jerry. And we will sometimes chat back and forth specifically about Batman. And Stevie here has been adamant for quite some time that Pattinson would be the Batman in the DCU. So how do you feel about this?
So number one, you guys are right. Jerry killed me on Monday, so I got to take my L. You guys were totally right. It is the smarter decision, and I ain't gonna lie, I was being a little emotional when I was pushing the propaganda, and it was so bad that I got so many DMs because I was like drawing, bro. I literally posted Pattinson and Corn Sweat like every day for like a month straight. It was bad. And so I got a lot of DMs like you idiot, you're wrong. I was like, yeah, look, you guys are right, you're right. But no, I think it is the smartest decision. I am still not the biggest fan of having two Batmans, but the reality is that, Pattinson is like 30 something, but his universe is grounded in there's no room for really supernatural in his Batman. And I just think that, if you want to do Brave and the Bold, you need a guy that's able to fit in that. And I also think another thing too is when it comes to casting, right? It is really hard to cast major popular actors because of the commitment. And I think that they have to find an actor that's going to be able to commit to the DCU. And I know that Rob said like he would, but I'm not necessarily sure given the amount of projects that he does outside of, Batman and stuff. So I also like the idea, bro, of casting actors that aren't super popular, because number one, it gives other actors a chance to, get their name out there, but we also get to see someone and give a portrayal that obviously at the heart of the character, it should be lined up with what we've seen before. But theoretically speaking, this is going to be the greatest Batman that we're ever going to see, the most comic accurate Batman that we are ever going to see. So I understand, and a part of me is happy about it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the brighter side of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my feelings, and all of you viewers probably know my feelings. I've been wanting a different Batman. I'm not a big fan of Pattinson's Batman. I was not a big fan of that movie. And I do want to see somebody new. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, we want Skellner, or we want this person, or we want that person. Whomever it ends up being, I don't care who it is, as long as they are good, as long as they fit the role, as long as they feel like Bruce Wayne and Batman. Casting, I think, has been spot on so far in the DCU, so that I'm not really afraid of. I'm just happy that this little debate is done and over with. We can now move past it. We can now focus on who's going to be Batman, because that's the fun part. The fun part is the speculating and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't really care who it is, but the speculation is fun.
Yep.
It is fun to speculate. So I'm all for that. I'm excited about it. I feel for all of you who really wanted Pattinson to be in the DCU. I feel for you. I get it. I was one of the ones even back in 2012, or not 2012, 2013-ish, 2014-ish, when they were starting to talk about the Batman vs. Superman, or the Batman Superman movie. And when everybody was talking about, bringing Christian Bale in, they should bring Christian Bale in. And I was one of the ones like, no, why would they do that? I was on like the same side with like I am now. Like, that's just dumb. Yeah. That's just dumb. And I remember everybody freaking out when they didn't bring Christian, or they weren't going to bring Christian Bale back in. And then they announced Ben Affleck. And I was like, that is brilliant. That's amazing. And I just remember all the people just being upset about that. I have a feeling something similar is going to happen now. So
yeah, that's going to be, oh my gosh. I mean, if they got mad over Aaron Pierre, then they can get mad over anything.
Oh yeah. Well, come on, man. They got mad over Aaron Pierre because his skin was too light.
Like, come on, dog. That's
like, that was ridiculous, man.
That's crazy.
Like,
the world we live in, man, is wild. I am hype about this Batman though. But I'm more hyped for the Bat family, because we've and that's the other thing too. And like, to critique like Matt Reeves' universe a tiny bit, it's like there was no hints to anything greater, you know what I mean? And it's like, with Brave and the Bold, bro, we're getting freaking Robin, bro. Damian Wayne, the most brutal, Robin out of all of them. So it's gonna be fun, bro.
Yeah. All right. So I want to bring up, I know I mentioned a little bit about the larger story. Safran said, we know where we're headed to go with the larger story. And so James makes sure that those building blocks are going to be put in place. And then around that, there's a tremendous amount of latitude in terms of what we do. Gunn also touched on the problematic nature of post-credit teases. Those post-credit scenes, like, they can be a real nightmare. I've done things before where I put in post-credit scenes and, like writing Guardians 3, and I was like, I wasn't really sure if Adam Warlock should be in it. But I fucking promised people. Now I'm like, I'm writing the script and things change, and I'm like kind of, cramming him in there. And I like him in the movie. I like the character, but it made it a little less elegant in some ways. And so I'm really careful about those sorts of promises. So he's mentioned in the past about post-credit and mid-credit, those types of scenes. And I know that he's made comments where he's not a big fan of doing them, and he doesn't want to do them necessarily unless there's a real purpose and need to do them. And I'm okay with that. I know the MCU really made it this thing where you have to have them. Well, if you saw Brave and the Bold, or not Brave and the Bold, Brave New World, that one was terrible. You know, if you see Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second one, that one was terrible. If you see, you know, you go through the MCU films, there's some of them that are okay. There's some of them that are really good, but a handful of them, if not most of them, are terrible because they just throw something in there just simply so they can have something there. And I kind of like this mindset with Gunn. It's like, we don't need to do it all the time. Like, if I feel like it's important and it needs to be in there, sure, let's do it. And I like that mindset. I think that's a really good idea to do it. And it's also more of a surprise for those who actually do stick around for the post credits, because not everybody does. And now it's more of a, do I have to stick around? Do you remember that in the early Marvel years where people would literally sit there like, hey, is there something at the end? Should we stick around? Nobody does anymore. You know, now people just know to stick around. I kind of like the, hey, should we stick around? Do we need to? That kind of thing. What do you think?
I think it's I think that it's kind of a cultural thing now, like as you said. So I think that the Ant-Man one was probably the most useful one, and I just love the scene where like all of those kings are yelling. I think that's just insanity. But I love chaotic type stuff. That's just me as a person. I'm a chaotic kind of guy. But I do agree with like some of these posts. A lot of these post credit scenes are useless to the actual story itself, and it does a bad job of pushing the story forward. And it hurts even more when you hear the scrapped idea, because usually the scrapped idea is like the way better idea than the original. So I think that with the DCU, I think that James Gunn can kind of do whatever he wants. I mean, you know, because he's in the position where, you know, he's the one that's setting the bar and setting the tone. So if he doesn't want to do a post credit, like, I think he has the liberty to do that. And when you deliver on a movie, like, I don't really think fans are going to care about what's next. Also, another reason why it shouldn't matter is because bro was putting out like 7 projects a year, bro. I mean, like that's like we're consistently getting DC content, so I'm not really tripping. But if you were doing like 1 movie a year, I think you would need a post credit to get fans to like stick around. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
we're getting a lot of consistency for the next 6 years.
If you had to be realistic, when do you think we'll get Brave and the Bold?
2028, 2029.
It's coming from Hungry Almighty.
Hungry, what's up, baby? I would probably say 2029. That's what I would say.
I think honestly, I'm thinking 2027.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
when is the Batman 2 going to drop?
That's 2026, isn't it? Or did they push it to 2027?
I thought I got pushed back. Let me see. The Batman 2.
I can't remember now because I don't care enough. Shh! Don't tell me.
Yeah, so it got pushed back to October 1st, 2027. So I would say 20.
Oh, so it'll be 2028 then. Yeah. Okay. Trayvon, the Batman being part of the DCU is like having Dark Knight Universe being part of the DCU. Can you honestly see Henry Cavill's Superman stand side by side with Christian Bale's Batman? No
way.
That's from Trayvon. Let's see. Jay Burns says, I get crap about my fan cast because I don't go with A-list actors, but my belief is A-list actors are made. You never know unless you give an unknown a shot. Very true, Jay Burns. Jay Burns says some people are still saying it could happen because Gunn says it's not the plan. I'm not sure which one. Yeah. All right. So continuing on, a couple things here. Man, there's so much to talk about. Just don't have enough time. Man, not enough time in the day.
I'm here as long as you want. So,
Gunn was asked about his next project. He states, "I'm writing something else now that would be the next directing thing. It's connected to Superman. Is it Superman 2? Is it World's Finest, like a lot of people are speculating?" This is some news that came up on Monday also, so I don't need to stick too much on that. I'm sure you talked about that on your show as well. Another thing that was talked about, but was kind of confirmed, but not confirmed, without confirming that there's even a Bane Deathstroke film out there. Safran was asked about that. He goes, Matt Orton is writing a big action movie for us right now. Something that's in that vein. And, we're waiting on a screenplay.
I can't wait for that, bro.
So that's interesting.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
So I like the idea because there was a rumor that came out with that months ago talking about that, that it was considered that maybe Nightwing or one of Batman's sidekicks are going to be in that. Do you like the idea of with a villain centric film? Some of like Batman's sidekicks or some of Batman's family is going to be in it, or would you rather just want bats in that?
So I got some information a number of months ago, and I actually wrote an article about it and did a video on it. So I got some information what James Gunn was planning, and this may have changed, but that they were going to focus on little pockets for the DCU. And one of the pockets specifically I was told about was quote unquote a Gotham pocket, where they were going to do a whole bunch of stories within Gotham with Gotham type of figures. So you're going to have, Nightwing and the Bat family, essentially Bat family centric figures.
Yeah.
You could fit even the Titans within there. What they were going to do is establish stories based within there, and then you would have like your Superman pocket, and then you would have like your Lanterns pocket, and you would have these little pockets throughout the DCU that can then all converge at some point. And what I heard was that these characters can then all intermix within their little pockets. And they could be a Nightwing can pop up over here, and a Batman movie could pop up, and a Batgirl movie could pop up. If it's connected to that little pocket, any of these characters will pop up at any time. Clayface, Batman can pop up in Clayface, can pop up over here. Like all these characters can pop up within their little pockets. And then these characters can also jump from pocket to pocket, but only in bigger scenarios, in bigger scenario forms. So for me, if that is true, if what I was told about that is true, then yeah, I could absolutely see a Nightwing being part of it. My only concern about that is that we were hearing the rumors that this was going to be more of a film where they're more like anti-heroes. Now, is that going to be true? Is that the direction they're going? I hope not. Because Bane is not really an anti-hero. Slade Wilson, sure, I guess, but did I say that right? Slade? Yeah, Slade. Yeah. Damn Deadpool. But yeah, Slade, I could see him being, because he's just a mercenary, he's not a bad guy, nor is he a good guy, he's just a weapon for hire. So I could see it going that way for him. But Bane, he's just a bad guy, he's a bad guy. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Fair.
We'll see. Let's see. They talked about some Supergirl stuff here. They asked about Sergeant Rock. They said Daniel Craig was never in the running for Sergeant Rock, which I thought was interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to the Zack Snyder stuff. We talked about that. I think it's hilarious that it was just all trying to get a rise out of the fandoms, which I think is great. I think it's hilarious. Oh yeah. What else is there? Oh, this is a good one. Saffron James always been an advocate. Okay, so we asked what's going on with DC video games. Gunn said we see designs for projects in their very early stages. We talk about those. We talk about what the story might be. We say, well, maybe you want to go this way because we're planning on maybe doing something with this character and so forth and so on, and help deal with that. Saffron added, James has always been such an avid gamer until now. You've been a little bit busy, but it's been great. And, we've enjoyed it enormously. Everything had been so siloed, and now that's completely broken down. And it's been great because it also applies to consumer products and experiences. And everything that DC touches runs up through us now, which is awesome. When asked when the first game would arrive, Gunn said a couple years from now. But yeah, we've had some pretty active involvement in some stuff coming up. Saffron even confirmed that plans to incorporate Superman skins into existing games like Fortnite are imminent. So there you go.
Let's go. I can't wait for that Superman skin, bro. Oh, yeah.
The Blue Beetle animated series is getting very close for them. That's exciting. And I think projects season 2 of Creature Commandos. If any of the Creature Commandos will pop up in live action before season 2, he said probably not, but after they do have plans for some of the commandos to appear outside of Creature Commandos after season 2 of Creature Commandos, which is cool. They have plans now for those characters, that is, which is
Let's
cool.
go.
I think they wanted to see how they were received after the first season, which is cool.
Yeah, my wife loved that show.
It was great.
She loved that show. And isn't Rick Flag in Superman?
He is. He's the only one that. I mean, that was confirmed a while ago.
Yeah.
But I think more they're talking more about the creatures than Rick Flag.
Oh yeah.
When asked about potential DCU properties to be used at Six Flags theme park, Safran said conversations are being had. When asked if Flash director Muschietti is attached to Brave and the Bold, Safran stated, "We're developing the script right now. We're going to show Andy when we have it in place where we think it's ready and then see if it's great. Let's see if it's a good fit." So they're going to see if it's a good fit for him. So he may not direct it. And I said this the other day. I think this is the first time I'm finally starting to believe, you know what? He may not be the director of this movie, which, hey, I mean, it is what it is. Things happen. Things change when things get delayed so long and just take time. It happens.
Do you like Andy?
I do. I like Andy. I liked his It movies a lot. I'm a fan of the Flash movie. My problems with the Flash movie were not the story. Excuse me. We're not the story. We're not so much even the directing. It was more the VFX, which I can't put all on Muschietti. I mean, partially, yes. Partially it can be put on Muschietti, but not fully because he's not the one on the computer creating the VFX. That could also be budgetary constraints. That could have been a whole plethora of other things. I don't know what all happened there. But the biggest problems with the Flash was the VFX for me. But I enjoyed the story quite a bit, and I enjoyed the direction. I think Keaton was handled well. I think for as much as Ezra Miller was miscast as the Flash, I think he did a fine job. Sasha Kaye or Cow, however you say her name, was perfectly cast and did really well in her role. So again, those weren't the problems. Those weren't the problems in the movie.
I agree. I think the Flash was great. Me and Jerry, we actually ended up seeing it early, and it was funny because the theater that we were in, bro, everyone erupted when we first saw the movie, and so it's wild how and yes, I think Ezra is a bad Flash, but I think he was directed very well in that movie. So, bro, I go back and forth though with Andy because a part of me wants I would love to get a guy that kind of just can do all three. Like if they do a Batman trilogy or whatever, I would love for each hero to kind of have their guy, and then we kind of get a similar theme like that throughout the DCU, if that makes sense when it comes to the films. Because I personally am I am a person of theme, I guess, and so I love watching Winter Soldier and then Civil War because the directors have a similar theme of character. And when you get the same director as well, because usually, I mean, we can all say, right, the sequel is usually the best film out of the three, right? And I love to see how directors' views of characters kind of grow over time. And nothing is better than when a director is comfortable. So
yeah, I agree. I do agree. Although Civil War is terrible, but I agree. All right.
I forgot you hate that movie.
All right. The last thing I'm going to talk about here before we start to close up the show, because I know this will excite fans, is the next trailer for Superman. They asked on the next trailer for Superman, or they asked when it's coming. Safran stated, "We're cutting it now." It's really a first trailer because it is. Because the first thing we saw was a teaser. I tell people this all the time. There's a difference between a teaser and a trailer. Nobody ever listens to me. But he goes, it's really a first trailer because if the first one was a teaser, see, this will be a 2.5-minute teaser for what Superman is going to be. But we're into that now. Okay, there you have it. So they're cutting the first trailer right now, which makes sense because if they're cutting it now, it's the beginning of March. When is CinemaCon? The end of March, right?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah.
So CinemaCon's the end of March. So it's either coming at CinemaCon or it's coming Superman Day, which is, I think, April 12th?
Yes, so CinemaCon is March 31st to April 3rd.
Yeah, and I think Superman Day is, I think, April 12th or 15th.
Superman Day is April April 18th
18th. Okay.
or June 12th,
So
either one, whatever.
yeah, so that's I think it's coming one of those 2 times. We're gonna get the trailer.
Yes.
So
By the way, I'm actually happy that you say that, because one of the things that I didn't like understand at first was like, why did I hear why did I hear Superman only talk like once? So, and when I heard that news that they're actually cutting it, I was like, okay, it makes sense. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yo, funny thing is, I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
neither
That's
do
the funny
I.
thing. Yeah, I don't like it. I like 1 and 3, I think, are darn near perfect films, but 2,
Same
I
with
couldn't.
me.
The whole dance for the to save the day, I'm sorry, I can't.
Thank you.
Bro. I can't. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is kind of mid, and it's funny because me and Slav agree on a lot. Like, we're not the biggest fan of a Bale, even though I trash the Dark Knight probably a little more than most. But like, Slav and I do agree on a lot of things when it comes to movies that we don't like,
Yeah.
except Civil War. But but nah, bro,
For
but nah,
real.
that's great
For
take.
real. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
bro,
crazy.
it's just crazy how the DCU is really about to be one of the biggest studios ever. I really think that what James Gunn is doing, bro, is going to take Warner Brothers to a whole nother level. And Jerry was kind of showing me the kind of stocks and stuff about how much money they've lost. I really, bro, I am so excited to see what James Gunn is going to do, because there was a while where we were just making this Marvel content because there wasn't a lot of stuff. So, bro, we are about to be. I mean, and the dream is for both of them to be out putting content, but DC has the best characters of all time in any franchise.
100% agree. 100% agree. Guys, all of you in the chat, thank you so much for coming on. I know that I didn't really get to your comments like I normally do, but I told you guys there's a lot of stuff to go over, and having Stevie here, I didn't want to leave him out. I wanted to get his opinion on things and talk to him about things, especially the whole Batman stuff, for sure. But yeah, I mean, this is a great episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, let me know, like, where can they find you, Stevie? Like, where can they get you?
Of course, I just want to say one last thing, Slab. I want to give you your flowers. All right, can we bring the screen to us two again? Because I just want to give you your flowers, y'all. Y'all don't understand, bro. I saw Slab when he was at 600 subs, and he almost grew. He's almost at 2,000 subs in a matter of darn near 6 months, bro. Slav, I just want to say that you work your butt off. And all of the success that you were going to see is not because you cakewalked, bro. You actually grind every day. I see you grinding on X. I see your YouTubes. I see your TikToks. I mean, bro, I just want to tell you, bro, I am, like, as a friend, I'm proud of you. And if no one else is, and if you don't think anyone is in your corner, you always got me and Jerry. And I'm just so happy for what you were doing, bro. Like, you are doing an amazing job, bro. So I just want to give you your flowers. But you can follow us at SuperHero Cuts on everything. And we have a comic book side at Comic Cuts. And then we have another channel called Spectrum Cuts where we do like fantasy, like Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. So show some love, subscribe.
Oh, wait, you have Spectrum Cuts, and then you have Gaming Cuts. You don't have the Comic Cuts here.
Oh, yeah. So he doesn't have a YouTube yet, but we're working on it. That's going to be coming soon. But Jerry on Comic Cuts is on Instagram and TikTok and on X. So please give him a follow as well.
Excellent. Yeah. No, you too, man. You guys have been doing great. When I came across you guys, I don't remember who reached out to who first, but no, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I have grown quite a bit over the last year, but I had a little experience with my other channel. So it was kind of like, granted, I started from basically zero, and none of my fans from my other channel followed me except for one who ended up leaving me because he was mad because I turned on the Snyder fandom. But but no, thank you, for that. But you guys are doing great too. I mean, I've been following along with you guys, and I see what you guys are doing. You've really dug your feet in with TikTok and shorts and stuff like that. So you're doing a hell of a job there. So
thank you, dog.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah. But so hopefully we do this again sometime. I want to start doing more guests on the Watchtower here. I like having the conversation. So yeah, we'll circulate you back into this at some point. Maybe get Jerry on here as well. Maybe
Same
have
here.
3 of us at some point. That'd be fun too.
I'm just saying, yeah, we're definitely getting you back on ASAP. So
Yeah, cool, man.
expect us.
All right, man. I will talk to you later, and everybody else, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you all next. Well, real quick, I am not having a show on Monday. I'm not having a show. I'm going, and my lovely fiance and I are going to be away. So just her and I are going to be away. So not going to be here on Monday with a show. So sorry, guys, but next Thursday I'll be back with another Watchtower. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll check you out later.